Welcome to the Elusive Podcast, a podcast that is harder to find than a moral billionaire. I'm your host, author, and award-winning artist, Levi Vanschoiack.
And I am an award-winning photographer with 17 years in the medical field, and your other host, Lyndsay Burnett.
We are a history podcast, but we specialize in the hard-to-find stories, the stories that slip between the cracks. Each week, one of us will share an elusive story that the other doesn't already know about. This is the perfect time to hand out our existential warning at the top of the show.
Some of the things we cover on this show are not super good for your mental health. So if you need to take a break to go outside and touch grass, listen, we get it. Some of this stuff can be kind of rough.
Having said that, last week we covered some invasive species that are absolutely just destroying the habitats that they've been released into. And, that's about as bad as it can get.
Yeah, there was a lot of nightmares in there. Killer bees.
Lionfish, nutria.
Yeah, a lot of nightmares.
Speaking of things that can be and are worse than they should be, have you ever heard of cane toads?
Nope, can't say as I have.
Well, buckle up, because this one right here is up there with lionfish and killer bees.
Oh, joy!
Actually, it might be a three-way tie, in my opinion, between lionfish, the feral hog, and this nightmarish cane toad.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Bring it on, let's go.
Okay. So, even though cane toads are a problem in Florida, Hawaii, and just about every Caribbean island, for today I'm going to focus on arguably the worst area they have ever been introduced, and that's Australia.
Okay.
You see, back in the day, the 1930s specifically, sugarcane was, and I guess still is, a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And people were making a lot of money off of planting, growing, and harvesting it. This little money weed.
No, like what you did there.
No, the other one.
Oh, okay.
It can be grown in hot, moist areas. The problem, aside from being really tough on workers, which is a nightmare job, I'd like to talk more about it here, but I kind of feel like it deserves its own episode.
Oh, okay.
The problem is that these cane fields are almost always a hotbed for insect activity.
Okay. All right. So tropical area, bugs, and canes. Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, these bugs, not only do they make their homes in them, but they also eat them, which is a real problem. So like the cane was just getting devastated at the roots. So a few geniuses, and I use that term as sarcastically as your mind will allow, thought that, what if we put something in there to eat these bugs? That would be helpful, right?
I mean, circle of life makes sense.
Specifically, the cane beetle larval grub in Queensland, Australia, which is causing like this massive devastation.
Okay.
Now, while this was going on, there was a scientist in Puerto Rico who was doing a study on cane toads.
Okay.
And the results were looking pretty positive. In 1932, Rachel Dexter was working on a study under her boss, Cyril Pemberton.
Oh, not Cyril.
Yeah.
Oh.
Every story has a Cyril. Cyril. While at a sugar conference in Puerto Rico, Pemberton was approached with the cane beetle situation in Australia. And before he even did any research, he packed 2 suitcases full of these toads and some wood shavings and got on a boat to the American mainland.
Wait. So somebody just showed up and said, hey, we're having a bug problem. And he's like, dun 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 dun.
Let me get my toads.
Toads in a suitcase to the rescue.
Fucking Cyril and his toad cases, yes.
Just from a tropical area to...
Well, it gets worse.
Okay.
Because this is possibly like the worst thing that could have happened to the U.S. Like if there's anybody that wants to write like a alternate history fiction about a train derailing and the cane toads getting out in the middle of like the country of the U.S., I would actually read the hell out of that.
Yeah. And I know this is probably an aside that means nothing, but why wood shavings?
Oh, because they had to keep moist, and so they put wood
okay.
shavings in there, and so their skin just absorbs it.
Like you would today in a terrarium.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if you had a tokay gecko or whatever.
All right. Okay.
Specifically. So he gets these 2 suitcases, and he gets on a boat to the American mainland. And then he rode a train all the way across the U.S.
This nightmare just written all over it.
Right. Well, could have happened. Yeah, it could have happened. To San Francisco, where he got on a boat to Hawaii, and this is where it actually gets bad. Old Cyril took his toads back to his home in Hawaii and bred them like crazy. Which there's still a problem in some places because of Cyril.
Is that why there's a moratorium when you bring pets in? They have to sit and wait because of somebody like him?
Somebody like Cyril. It's almost always a Cyril. There's always a Cyril. Just fuck
why,
that guy.
Cyril? Why?
Cyril. There's always a Cyril in the situation. He always makes it worse. Anyways, so he's just sitting around in his own little toadfuck kingdom until 1935. When Queensland sent Reg Montgomery in April of 1935.
Good old Reg.
Good old Reg. To come get some of these legendary toads he's been hearing about. Reg and the toads traveled in first-class luxury across the Pacific.
Oh, they just traveled yet again.
In a big old steamer, first class.
Okay.
It was, like, well documented. Like, they sent magazine writers.
Did no one understand any of this? Like, we're on different continents with different species for a reason. And we just... Okay.
This is the height of when they decided to make all of the plumbing out of lead. So...
Oh, yeah. You were 1930s? Yeah.
So they got these first class accommodations like all the way across the Pacific.
Okay.
Like they had magazine writers out taking pictures and stuff about, because everybody in Queensland was like super excited about these toads showing up.
It was a whole ordeal.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were met at the port and at train stops along the way until they reached Queensland in the northeastern part of the country.
So, like, the whole way, there were people that just showed up to just look at suitcases.
Yeah, back in the day, there wasn't a lot going on.
I bet.
It's like,
oh, no, sorry, we can't open the suitcases to show you the toads, but I swear they're in there. Listen, you can hear.
I think he showed him the toads.
Okay, that's even stupider.
Toad. He just flopped toad on him.
He flopped toad. Look at it. Look at my toad.
Look at my toad.
It's water. Okay, gotta go. Next stop.
So they were a pretty big deal to Australia when they showed up. And looking back, it's hard to imagine a worse thing to happen. But the fact
hindsight being 2020.
Yeah. But the fact that all of this stuff came afterwards came from the single, seemingly innocent act. It's hard to comprehend.
Okay.
When they were released, their population exploded. Now, when I say exploded, I'm not being hyperbolic. Each female cane toad can lay up to 40,000 eggs.
Wait. How many?
40,000.
40.
40, yes.
Okay. And he had how many?
There was like 100, 200 of them. It's hard to tell. He just kind of stuffed them in the suitcase.
Oh my God.
So they can lay up to 40,000 eggs a year. And sometimes they can lay twice a year.
Oh no.
Now, here's where it gets really twisted. Almost like Jurassic Park twisted.
It gets worse.
Yes.
Of course.
Male cane toads actually have a rudimentary ovary. So if they're in a population of mostly males, they can spontaneously choose to breed as a female.
A rudimentary? You meaning it just hangs around just in case?
Yeah, it's a just in case vagina, I guess. They have just a just in case lady parts.
It's rudimentary, Mr. Watson. It's an ovum. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, if their testes are damaged or removed, they can happily live out the rest of their lives as females.
Wait, oh no.
Yeah. So I hate to quote Dr. Ian Malcolm here, but especially with these not so little guys, life will absolutely find a way.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
And that way is usually over any living thing in its path, regardless of how they feel about it.
Oh no, so they're prolific eaters too, on top of breeders?
They eat everything. Except for... Wait, I'm getting ahead of us.
Okay, oh, sorry.
Their numbers exploded. And at first, everyone was overjoyed that the toads seemed to be able to handle the Australian landscape, which, as we all know, is covered in poisonous or deadly creatures hell-bent on your death, or, at the very least, your unending suffering.
Because Australia, yeah.
Because Australia. But the cane toads didn't seem to have a problem with any of the native species.
Well, okay.
Which was good news, again, at first. As the cane growers noticed with increasing horror, their crops were still turning brown and dying. It seems the cane toads had no appetite for the devious cane grub.
Were they diggers?
Oh, in fact, it seems that nobody even checked to see if cane toads would even seek them out.
Oh, okay.
Or eat them if they crossed their path.
Oh, okay.
Which it seemed they did not.
So they ate everything but the thing that they were supposed to eat.
Right. And
bravo, Cyril. Bravo.
They dig, but not for food. They dig to hibernate, which is also a terrifying part of the frog.
Out of all the toads in all of the world, they choose the one that said, no, thank you.
So now their fields are teeming with toads.
Oh.
And they were growing. Not just getting bigger, but breeding like crazy. When it became apparent that these toads weren't going to be helpful, they started trying to kill him.
Okay.
Which was easier said than done. Their numbers were out of control. They had these little like festivals and these little gatherings where people would try to come up with new and interesting ways to like kill toads.
Okay. Like for what?
Oh, like they had competitions to like, you know how we have competitions here in Kyle Canyon to see who can make a cardboard sled that makes it down the mountain?
Okay.
They had a thing to see who could come up with a contraption that killed the most toads.
Oh. Did you come across any examples?
Yeah, there was a guy with a wood chipper and a rake.
Oh God!
It wasn't that creative.
No.
But yeah, it was crazy.
I want to know who won now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can find.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Now, another little fun fact about these nightmare toads is that they're toxic to eat.
Of course they are.
In fact, a wave of pet deaths hit Australia when the toad horde came in contact with residential neighborhoods.
Oh my God, Australia! Like you don't have enough toxic things there. Oh my God.
And as they watched helplessly, any native species that tried to eat them wound up dead.
Of course.
This includes birds, snakes, crocodiles, and dingoes.
Not the dingoes.
Right. Since nothing could eat them, they moved on as though they knew it too, all the way across the northern part of Australia and threatening to come down the other side. At first they tried everything, putting up fences, rounding up toads, and killing them, but nothing seemed to work. Now, I watched this one documentary that talked about how they were confused as to how they were jumping from one pond to another miles away.
Okay.
And that's when they observed that the cranes that were landing in the water to get a drink, when they walked through the pond water, toad eggs stuck to their legs.
No!
Yeah, so when they took off to find another pond, each and every time they landed, they would accidentally drop off potentially more breeding pairs of toads.
So just they proliferated or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Aside from toads hitching a ride on birds, weather also has helped distribute them around. Rivers and streams were once thought to be too wide for them to cross. When it was found out they actually had been able to cross very large bodies of water with almost little to no effort.
What? Who thought? Because they're toads that
because
they can't...
they're toads and not frogs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So once they crossed like the big gulfs of water, they everybody kind of just ran out of hope. They're just like, oh God, now there's nothing we can do. But unlike other semi-invasive species, this one is only semi-delicious.
You said it was toxic.
Right, because you can only eat their legs, since most of their flesh is toxic.
Okay.
So if you skin them and take the legs off, they're delicious.
Then you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you remember when I was talking about those big community events where they would get together and try to kill as many as they could?
Right, yeah.
Well, during this time, a guy even died when he tried to stab a toad.
What?
With a homemade spear.
How did he die?
Okay, so this is like some Ron Perlman 1,000 Ways to Die stuff.
Oh, man.
So this guy has a homemade spear that's an aluminum pipe that's got a steak knife jammed into it.
Okay.
And he was going to stab this toad and wound up stabbing an electrical cord that was right behind it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And he didn't get the toad. He just,
Yeah, the toad made it.
He got. Oh, that's horrific.
But in recent years, it seems that many have lost interest, and the task seems to be too big for any one group to handle. So for now, it's up to these little community groups to go out and round them up when and where they can.
Okay.
Again, the situation is dire, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon.
So the groups rounding up, that helps.
Well, yeah, it slows them down, but with the numbers they're talking about,
it's such epic proportions. It's like holding back the ocean.
It's an existential nightmare.
Gotcha, okay.
Like, there's no stopping them, and they eat everything.
Except for the grubs.
Except for the grubs.
Except for the grubs.
Except for the cane grubs, which eventually turn into these cane beetles, which they also thought they would eat,
they also leave them alone.
Well, kind of, unless they're really, really hungry, which they get really, really hungry because, like I said before, they eat everything.
Oh.
And because they have, like, 40,000 brothers and sisters every single time, like, they even eat each other sometimes.
I really need to come up with a different term other than a nightmare, but yeah, that's really horrific.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't think I've heard of another species that's just adapted as perfectly to their environment as cane toads. Well, maybe tumbleweeds?
Oh, no. What? You're telling me tumbleweeds? They're invasive too?
Oh, you're going to need a 5-point harness to buckle up for this one.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Is there anything more ubiquitous of the Wild West than two cowboys facing each other down in a gunfight?
Woo.
And just then, a lazy blowing tumbleweed comes blowing in between them, heightening the drama for just a moment.
Wah, wah, wah.
Then they both draw. One is just a little faster. The other falls, seeming the victor.
Oh.
He drops his revolver into a well-worn holster. The real victor of this battle is in fact the tumbleweed that briefly interrupted. Not only did tumbleweeds not exist in the Wild West, but they weren't even around. They're not even from around here.
What? So, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweed.
That's all propaganda.
Oh.
That's all, believe it or not, Wild Bill propaganda.
Wild Bill?
Okay, so they're not even from here. They're from Russia.
Russia.
They're actually called Russian thistle, to be exact. And they hitched a ride on a flax shipment to Yankton, South Dakota in October of 1880.
So the middle of the country, from Russia.
Yeah.
With love.
With love.
That's not Southwest at all.
Right. Hold on. It gets worse. The Wild West is, as we've agreed, like everybody agrees, that it was between 1895 and 1880.
Okay. So 15 years?
Yeah. It's about the time of the Golden West, yeah. When everybody agrees that like the Wild West of like the pistol fights and the all of that.
Movies make it act like it was over 100 years.
Oh yeah. Well, it wouldn't take long after 1895 for these tumbleweeds to tumble out into the actual West. And once they did, they would become a permanent part of the landscape.
Yeah, I can attest for that, growing up in the Southwest.
We can see them outside of our window right now.
Yeah, well, that too.
And we live in the middle. I can't stress this enough. I don't know if you can hear the traffic in the background. We live in the middle of Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It took a while to become the avatar of the West, and it had a lot of help.
Okay.
Buffalo Bill is widely agreed to be the first one to adopt them as a normal part of the American West, even
Really?
featuring some of them in his Wild West shows.
Featuring, meaning he brought it along with him.
Which is how we got them on the East Coast and Midwest.
Brilliance.
Yeah. After the song about them tumbling along, which you referenced earlier.
Of course.
That is. They had been cemented into the lexicon as though they'd always been there.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to lie. When I first found out that they don't belong here, it took me a while to process it.
Yeah. I'm having that issue right now.
Where I'm from in Nevada, you only have like one or two choices for available vegetation.
Right.
It's either sagebrush or tumbleweeds.
Sagebrushes, it's a bitty, itty bitty.
Now that I know about them, it makes me sad and a little angry. The reason that only a few types of vegetation, it has a lot to do with the tumbleweeds themselves.
Mm.
And they develop quickly, which means they suck up the available water faster than the native plants.
Which is worse because we're in a desert, so there's not much water to begin with.
Right. Then they sever themselves from the roots and blow around, dropping seeds in the form of stickers wherever they go.
Is that why they roll around?
Yeah, they actually have these specialized parts of their stalk that actually hollow out and allow them to rock themselves free from the dirt.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's like they're genetically made to like just be the worst.
I know the little nubs you're talking about. We used to use the sticks of the tumbleweeds to whack each other.
They make great swords.
Violent children. But yeah.
You can tell we've been around big tumbleweeds. They make great swords. They win in just about every kind of soil competition. Like every time they come up against the plant in a different kind of soil, they win.
Oh.
They often grow where no other plants seem to be able to, like in cliff walls, where their roots can do real damage.
Oh, wow.
Now, one of the worst things about them is that they're basically made to catch on fire. And when they do, they cause some real problems.
Yeah, they go up real fast.
Well, that also helps them spread their seeds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because when it catches on fire, they pop.
That's
and they fly.
That's right. And thanks to the scorched landscape, now they have all the soil they could hope for.
Of course.
It's a really messed up cycle,
Yeah.
but nothing is worse than what happens when a bunch of them blow around together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've all seen the videos of them stacked up against houses in California like snowdrifts in a blizzard.
Yep.
This has become almost a yearly event.
Yeah.
And now that they have little competition, it seems that they have now started to mutate.
Oh, mutate on top of this.
Oh, yeah. So there's a new strain of tumbleweed that's
Okay.
starting to be seen. That's these giant tumbleweeds. They start at 6 feet across.
Oh, my God. That's some of the videos I've seen.
That's right.
Oh, no.
And they're taking over some of the areas their smaller cousins used to proliferate in. Again, there isn't much that we can do about it. However, in keeping with the deliciousness of invasive species, tumbleweeds can be eaten too.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What?
But you have to catch them when they're real young and green. Like, I've eaten them. I've fed them to livestock.
So, like, before the stickers start forming?
Yeah, well, they can form, but they still have to be green. They kind of taste like celery.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many of those little baby tumbleweeds that I've pulled up, but I didn't know you could eat it. That's crazy cool.
Oh, yeah, they taste like celery with spinach mixed, which makes sense because they're actually in the same family.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they're in the amaranth family, which includes spinach and beets.
Oh, amaranth. You can actually you can make bread out of amaranth.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you can make bread out of Russian thistle seeds, too. It probably wouldn't taste good.
Right.
They would be pretty tasty in a salad. And with the bonus of knowing when you eat them, when they're still green, none of the seeds they would have made will make it into the soil. So there's that.
I mean, there's that. That's something.
But if you don't catch them while they're still green, they quickly become inedible, even to the most hardy animals.
Makes sense. I've seen that.
Yeah. They just become like a traveling knife fight, looking to poke or stick whatever comes along, until either they have dropped all of their seeds or until they disintegrate completely.
Okay.
The Russians called them perikati pol.
Okay.
Or to roll across the field. But
to roll across the field.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they also have a pretty apt nickname.
Okay.
They call them wind witches.
Wind witches.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I knew you'd like that one.
Thank you.
Speaking of terrifying Russian invaders, the next one also comes to us from the land of borscht and vodka.
Oh no, what do you have now?
This one isn't so much an invasive species so
Okay.
much as it's a force of nature.
A force of... I'm actually really worried about this one.
This next one, while on the surface it doesn't seem all that dangerous,
Okay.
could single-handedly kill every freshwater species in the United States of America.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
And I don't just mean the fish, but also the plants and even the algae. And after that, all the microscopic creatures that we rely on to hold up our food chain, just straight up gone.
Okay.
Murked by suffocation. This crooked butler of a species is even now hovering over the face of our elderly country, firmly grasping a pillow, ready to press down at just the right amount of pressure to get the job done.
Well, there's a mental image, isn't it?
This butler's name?
Yeah.
The zebra and kaga mussels.
What?
I know that's technically two different things.
Right.
So think of it as like a conjoined butler of the apocalypse, because while they both do different stuff, and admittedly one is arguably worse than the other,
Okay.
they both got here around the same time.
Oh, okay.
And they've spread from the same places. And in effect, their arrival at the same time has allowed for them to like leapfrog off of one another, pushing forward like a creeping wave of death.
Okay, so they work in tandem?
Well, not on purpose, but yeah.
Oh.
Zebra mussels were first discovered in Lake St. Clair in Michigan in June of 1988.
Okay. And they're from where?
Russia.
That's right.
After it was believed they hitched a ride in a Russian ballast tank.
Okay.
You see, big ships can't really right themselves to keep themselves level.
Okay.
So what they do is they fill up these ballast tanks to keep them heavier on whichever side is needed.
Thank you for explaining that. I didn't understand.
Yeah. But they do this to offset the weight of whatever else is on board.
Oh.
Whether that be people, dirt, giraffes, whatever.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah. Before these big ships take off across the ocean, they either empty or fill these tanks with fresh water.
Okay.
Now, the nasty thing about zebra mussels is their larvae can't be seen by the naked eye.
Oh, no.
So some ship captain who didn't know it was the flashpoint for this whole disaster.
So they just were filling up their tanks with water like they always do.
Yeah.
And it's in the water and you can't see it, and can't really blame them then.
Right. I mean, what if you can't see it, you can't.
Just nature was naturing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now we know better. But
Yeah.
back then we didn't. After they got a foothold, which is funny because they're mollusks.
Stop it.
Yeah. And that's what they call the thing they move around on. They call it a foot.
It's a foot, yeah.
After they got a foothold in Lake St. Clair, they spread into the Great Lakes, where their population exploded.
No.
They found the perfect place to spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
You see, zebra mussels are filter feeders.
Mm-hmm.
They eat the tiny stuff we can't see.
Okay.
And at first that doesn't seem too bad. but it really is.
Because they wipe it all out.
Well, you see, they filter so much that they actually lower the oxygen levels in the water.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it actually triggers fish to die off.
Oh, no.
And then after the fish have died, that usually triggers a bacterial bloom that kills off everything else.
Oh, no.
Then the aquatic plants get involved, and they repopulate an area so thick that they eventually cause their own die-off. It's a cascading...
What?
Yeah.
So aquatic plants, do they help the oxygen of the water?
They do, but then they overpopulate themselves, and then they wind up dying off completely.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And then that die-off causes more... Oh,
because
no.
it only takes one bacterial infection, one virus, one blight, and the whole population of aquatic plants just cascade failure.
Oh, wow.
So it's a cascading failure that destabilizes the entire food chain. In the end, leaving the once freshwater an uninhabitable wet desert.
Oh, man.
They don't just filter the oxygen out of the water, they also attach themselves to whatever they can, whether that be fish, plant, boat, or an emergency pressure valve.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
So they're like the Russian thistles.
They are, underwater.
But in the water.
Yes. That's the perfect apt description for it, actually.
Oh, wow.
These things kill whatever they attach themselves to. And in the case of industry, they clog pipes and runoff tubes, causing some normally contained waste to leak into the rivers and streams.
Because they're mollusks.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. What's worse is there really isn't a way to stop them, other than letting every single boater know to drain their boats like at the dock before leaving.
Yeah.
Because this is the way that they move around most effectively. I saw a documentary that said one retired couple with a pontoon boat from Minnesota may have actually contaminated more than a few lakes in the Southwest.
No.
And with one single bilge they forgot to drain.
Oh, God. So they just moved the water.
Every time they put their boat in the water, they spread them further and further from where they first picked them up.
Oh, my gosh. Wait, this is after it already moved to the Great Lakes. So you said that one unknown captain. So did the couple that did it on their boat know?
No, but they found out when they were going to California and they tested their bilge and they said, you have to empty your bilge and we might even have to like spray it for contamination. And that's,
oh my goodness.
And that's when they back checked all the national parks that they had gone to and all the lakes that they had been to.
Oh no.
So in 2007, they were discovered here in our own backyard at Lake Mead, which means that they're now in the Colorado River.
Oh.
They have an unfettered highway to go all the way up the west coast.
All the way.
Now, as bad as the zebra mussels are, the quagga mussels are worse.
Okay, but can you eat the mussels?
No, they're disgusting.
Ew, okay.
Yeah, it's like the one exception. So, take all the bad shit about the zebra mussels.
Okay.
And then put them into the quagga. Now understand that the quagga makes the zebra mussel look like a scrawny tryhard.
Oh, no.
The quagga is so much, it has such a higher tolerance to hot and cold than the zebra.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So they can handle hotter and colder water, and so they can spread faster. So in the winter, the zebra mussels can't really handle the cold as much. So they stop.
Okay.
But the quaggas don't. They just keep going.
Are they both from the same area of Russia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it makes them spread much faster, but also into places the zebra mussels would not find comfortable. As of now, they're in 20 states and 6 major rivers.
And they do the same thing. They just kill off all life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just the worst thing you can imagine.
Oh.
All that being said, there is hope on the horizon.
Is there?
Oh, yeah. New treatments are being tested now. And shockingly, scientists have found a bacteria that infects these 2 species specifically.
Okay. They've tested it on all the other wildlife around? Okay.
Now, they've already confirmed that it kills them. But
Okay.
being good scientists, they want to make sure that they don't wind up putting another invasive and unstoppable species into play until they know how the bacteria would react in the new environment.
Good. That's basically what I was saying. They've
Yeah.
learned from past mistakes.
So at least that's good news.
Yeah.
Science is learning from the mistakes of
Ooh,
the past.
there's that.
And they have a healthy respect for what happens when the due diligence isn't done.
Okay, good.
They have also recently found a parasite that targets them specifically, and they're just now beginning trials to see if that might be a viable answer as well.
You know what we should do right now?
What?
We should pay the electric bill.
Oh, yeah, there's a good idea.
We'll be right back.
We'll be back.
And welcome back.
Hello! You found us.
The lights are still on.
Yay!
And last, but certainly not least, the most singularly terrifying invasive species in America. Of course, I'm talking about feral hogs.
You saved the best for last. Yay.
And feral hogs have been a problem since Columbus first reached the Caribbean and let a couple escape.
Whoa, that long ago?
Oh yeah. Every single European visitor to the New World bears at least a little blame for the problem we have today.
Oh, okay.
Those first pigs that escaped from the Spanish on the mainland have lived behind the scenes as our little country grew.
All right, tell me more.
With every new pig that escaped from European farms, they bred with the descendants of those first original pigs that escaped, making them like a mutant Neapolitan ice cream pig of nightmares.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so there were no pigs here before Columbus showed up.
Correct.
A few escaped.
Mhm.
And then the more pigs they brought, the more those bred and brought new generations.
Think of it like a gene pool that gets filled up with a bucket of water every time one of these pigs escapes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's bacon.
Yeah, but it's different kinds of bacon.
But like everybody loves bacon. How were they able to live?
Well, because they don't want to get killed, so obviously they're going to hide from humans.
Oh.
Because they are tasty, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Unlike their cousins in captivity, they aren't calorically constrained like the pigs on a farm can be, and will eat around the clock.
Oh.
This is one of the reasons they get much larger than your average farm pig. Even the ones you see at state fairs that win ribbons are dwarfed by the wild
Are
ones.
you serious? Because those are some big pigs.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, the largest feral hog killed weighed in at a whopping 1,051 pounds.
That's like horse size.
Oh, yeah.
I had a draft horse that weighed almost that much.
And that was in Anniston, Alabama. And an 11-year-old boy shot it in 2007.
I'm sorry. I just got to take a minute because it's really hard for my brain. I'm from the middle of nowhere, right? And we live in the city. It's hard for me to think that there's an animal that can be the size of a horse, just walking around out there, just
out there,
but not just one. It's an epidemic of it.
Let me get there.
Okay.
Aside from being much bigger, feral hogs also develop tusks. These elongated teeth in the front of the mouth, and possibly the most dangerous part of the hog. Not only because they are razor sharp and can gore you to death, but they also use them to root up fields, farms, wetlands, really anywhere. They can and will root anywhere they want to, and the damage they cause is tremendous.
Yeah, I know that this is a sound medium and you can't see. My mouth is just hanging open right now because I'm sorry. Keep going.
Not only do they destroy crops, but they also destroy the topsoil. Once they tear up the native grasses, it's difficult for them to come back the same as it was.
I'm noticing a theme here.
Oh?
All of these invasive species tear up the grass and ruin the soil. And erosion just rampant.
That's the secret supervillain behind all of this is erosion and topsoil loss. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay. Continue. Sorry.
Okay, so Instead, other species that are hardier come in and take their place. And now we have a very special moment in front of us, should we decide to take it.
Okay.
Here comes the crossover event of the episode.
Uh-oh.
This summer, in a world divided by hogs and tumbleweeds, one species will be helplessly trapped in the middle. This summer, in a pasture near you, from the people that were too high to bring you Sharknado comes Pig Stickers.
Dun dun dun!
The battle for suburbia. But for real though, this is actually happening all over. Feral hogs will root up fields, literally clearing the way for Russian thistle, almost like they were doing it on purpose.
Oh my goodness.
But they aren't, though. They're just pigs. And while they may be smarter than dogs, trust me, I read a whole book about this.
Yeah, you did.
Anyways, while they're smarter than dogs, I fail to see how they could be capable of understanding agriculture, or specifically, highly specialized soil stabilization.
Yeah, not logic there. No.
Right. Because even though they root up the native grasses and poop everywhere, making it the perfect environment for the wind witch to come in and make it a cottage, it's completely by accident. Not that I'm some sort of pork apologist or whatever, just facts.
Only the facts, please.
But this dastardly duo is like the 1-2 punch that just keeps working. When you finally chase the hogs off your land, after they've destroyed it, tumbleweeds start growing. Wow. And as soon as you poison or burn them out, the hogs will be right back.
Right back.
And now in bigger numbers. Because, spoiler alert, they're always in greater numbers than they were before.
I have to think too. I wonder if because the pigs are tilling up the soil, and it changes the ground composition too, right?
Absolutely.
The poop and all of that
Mhm.
changes the
pH, all of
yeah,
that.
all of that. So that makes it harder, even if you were trying to grow, I don't know, like cotton, which isn't necessarily from here, or corn. Well, I guess it is, but still changes the pH. So then you wouldn't be able to grow it in that area anymore either.
Not like you were, yeah.
No. Oh my goodness.
Because these are snouted fuck machines, and that's what they do. That's pretty much all they do.
Mm,
While males tend to be bigger and more aggressive, females are the real danger here.
okay.
They can drop up to 2 litters a year.
2.
Yeah, and in those litters, anywhere from 4 to 12 piglets.
That's a lot of pigs.
Yeah, but that's only half the problem. Those 12 piglets will be sexually mature enough to drop their own 12 piglets in 6 to 8 months.
Oh. Oh wow. I'm not good at math, but that's too many pigs.
That's a lot of bacon.
Yeah.
This is why they're such a problem. They replicate like a virus.
Mm.
They get into an area that has resources and they don't stop until the resources are exhausted and their numbers have doubled.
Doubled, tripled, quintupled, whatever.
Almost exponentially.
Yeah.
With no natural predators in some areas, the saddest thing is when the hog population outproduces compared to the available resources.
Mm.
And then entire herds either starve to death or go on a starving rampage to find and eat whatever they can before the next pig gets it.
That seems to be a common occurrence with these invasive species too.
Yeah, they definitely travel on their stomachs.
And when the population gets too big, they implode on themselves.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And they're not above eating each other too.
Oh, yummy.
Some communities have been fighting back against this threat for years.
Oh,
While I lived in Texas, I went on a few feral hog hunts.
did you?
Yes, and I was surprised to find out that some parts of Texas, they have a hefty bounty on them.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go to certain parts of the state and actually make a pretty decent living just hunting feral hogs. Some places back then offered $50 a hog, but
Okay.
yeah, but today I'm not sure what it is. Check on it because I'm a fraud. As far as I can tell, they have taken the idea and acid washed it through capitalism. So now you can hunt as many hogs as you want from a helicopter for about $2,400. Give people a chance and they will find a way to make money off
That
of it.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Now, normally I'd curse them for this, but it seems like not only are the hogs taken as humanely as possible, but it also seems like they're actually making a difference.
Are they?
Yeah, so for now, I'm all the way behind them.
Okay. Capitalism wins in this case, I guess.
Now, as for eating them, I have eaten them, and they are delicious.
Really? Is there a difference? Can you taste?
Well, they taste just like normal pigs, but like with an adventurous diet.
Okay.
Well, well, see, your normal farm raised pigs, they grow up on feed made specifically to make them taste a certain way.
Okay.
And
I
if-
didn't even think about that before.
Right. Well, and if you can get past that, you'll see the hogs taste almost exactly the same. I've even barbecued feral hog.
Okay.
I smoked it with mesquite and put a sweet and spicy glaze on it on a pork shoulder.
Mm.
Even though you have to cook it a little longer just to make sure that you don't get any parasites.
Well, I was going to say you're making me hungry, but now never mind. So,
Well, after I just hit the microphone. Sorry, people at home. You have to cook it a little longer, but I mean, I'm also in an abundance of paranoia. I always cook everything a little longer.
okay.
Let me tell you, it may have been the finest pork shoulder that I've ever made.
Really?
Oh yeah, you can actually order the feral pork online too. I looked it up on the internet.
So capitalism has a system for that, so you can order it states away.
Absolutely, and please do. I mean, eat them.
Hey, I'm interested.
Yeah, so you can find it online if you're feeling adventurous. But unlike most invasive species, feral hogs are a problem all over the world.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they live on every single continent except Antarctica.
Okay.
Wild boars in Russia are a mixture of Asian and European hogs, and they can get pretty big too, and they're causing similar problems.
Oh.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they haven't made it past North Africa. I think it's because there's a big-ass desert there. But consider this for a moment, what would happen if they made it into sub-Saharan Africa.
That's, my brain is just, but there's lions there.
Right, but that would be like if a train carrying cane toads had derailed in Missouri. See what I did there?
Oh, nice callback.
I won an achievement for that callback.
Yeah, you did.
Anyways, they're a big problem everywhere. But the bright side is, the more people that find out that they're delicious means that eventually their days are numbered.
Oh, okay.
All I think it would take would be to bring back the McRib, but like year round, and like slowly mix in feral hog meat until you replace like all of the farm raised pork.
There you go.
If that happened, the feral hog would be wiped out in what, like 6 months, a year?
Who know? What are the numbers? Who knows?
Until McDonald's decides to return my phone calls, what we have left is what I've already mentioned. Hunting and trapping seems to be the only thing that's working at this point.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean we should give up hope.
Okay.
New techniques and new technology has made it possible to finally see a future not threatened by feral hogs.
Well, that's bright. Happy.
Between lures that bring in feral hogs from miles away, but also are trapped by the dozen, and then humanely processed. And luring and trapping are increasing in popularity. Farmers and ranch owners are finding that leaving one of these lures up in the quiet part of their field not only traps the hogs, but it also keeps them off the rest of their land.
So they're able to do like pig roundups rather than cow roundups.
And they don't have to keep repairing their land because, for the most part, just keeps them in one corner.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it ensures that their crops and livestock see less damage than before. So there is hope.
Yay.
But it would also be really nice if McDonald's would just, cut me a quick check.
Yeah.
Seriously, guys, get at me after this. And that brings me to my favorite part of the podcast.
Oh, what's that?
It's time for new curses.
New curses! This is the part of the show where we specifically craft a curse for the situation, for the people at blame, or generally those that earn it, really.
For instance, the usual fuck that guy. While normally this would be acceptable, it lacks a certain amount of, specificity. Because specificity in curses really matters. To the guy that sent the Wind Witch in that shipment of flax to Yankton, South Dakota.
Yes.
Yeah. So unless they're a vampire or an undead, they're probably dead.
Probably.
But for this instance, we're going to assume that they're alive and can suffer from this curse.
Okay.
So may there be a spoon in the bottom of the sink anytime you turn on water for the rest of your life. And may that spoon be pointed directly at your crotch.
Oh. No, I swear it wasn't my bladder.
I did not pee myself. Yeah, good luck.
Oh,
Good
I
luck
see what you
explaining
did
that.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. To Christopher Columbus, because fuck that guy for all the things that he did, but for bringing pigs to the Caribbean in this case, I guess we're either cursing his memory or the body he was reincarnated into, if you believe in such things. First and foremost, I hope that every time you put on a fresh pair of socks, you step in a big old puddle of cold dog pee.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, every time. Fresh socks. There it is. Oh. And next, may all of your toilet paper, multiplier. May all of your toilet paper be both soggy and delicate.
Oh, God. Mm-hmm. Oh, the trifecta.
Mm-hmm. All of that. Take it.
To the guy, captain.
Okay.
Put the respect, I guess, that he deserves.
That guy.
To the captain that released the zebra and kaga mussels. I'm going to assume it's the same guy. It's probably not, but for this exercise, we're going to assume it's the same guy.
Just lump them all in and make them one egregore. Okay.
Fuck that guy. Okay, but anyway, also on top of fuck that guy, I hope you get hypnotized by a hypnotist. And I hope he makes you think that you're a chicken. And then I also hope that he has like a massive stroke and dies on the spot, leaving you to live out the rest of your life thinking you're a chicken.
That's horrible. Okay.
But also apt.
But also take that guy.
Man, that just felt cathartically good.
Yeah, after that heavy stuff.
Felt like cathartic justice.
Yeah. Now that I know that there's epidemics on us. Ugh.
You know what else feels like cathartic justice?
What?
Plugging your pluggables.
I'm going to plug my same pluggable as last week because I'm really proud of my art. Lyndsy's Whimsies. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Yeah,
that's Lyndsay's Whimsies. Look it up. She has a really cool gnome earrings that she's working on right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of people like those.
Well, he's biased because we share a house and he gets to see what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, but I'm not a person that would lie about gnomes.
That's true. Enough about my pluggables. What do you got?
Well, my book sales aren't doing as good as they could be doing.
Yeah, you did mention in episode 1 that you wrote a book and then didn't say anything about the book. What is this book?
So it's The Treaty of the Coil, book 1 of the Rising Titan series.
Okay. Oh, there's a series.
Oh, yeah. I'm working on the 3rd book right now.
Okay. You said book 1. Where's book 2?
Oh, book 2 is also available. Both books are available.
There you go.
Thank you.
Mhm.
On Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, wherever books are sold.
Where books are sold. So
Yeah.
yeah, go check out his book about dogs from space.
Well, yeah, and about how the cows killed the dinosaurs.
Also that.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for us this week.
Yep, we're all done.
Come back next week if you can find us. We're probably going to cover something twisted.
Yep, that's what we do.
So stay safe out there.
Lucid.